Everything that grows everywhere here isn't growing in this spot. So the soil must be different. They don't really jump out at you, but they're all over the place here. It's kind of tedious work. This is great work for kids because they're low to the ground. Hey, it's Greg here with Outdoors on the Cheap, just out trying to scare up some deer here on a Saturday morning. Not having any luck. It is unbelievably warm. Actually, you can see grasshoppers in November, which for here, Nova Scotia, Canada, is insane. But anyway, just, you know, when I'm out in the woods, I tend to move slow, try to be quiet. And when you're in a state like that, you notice things. And what I noticed while I was walking along this logging road here was cranberries, wild cranberries. So I'm going to pick some. And I'm going to show you how to identify them. So you look out across this, there's a bog over there, and there's just a sort of wet area here. And I don't know why, but I just noticed the red. They're not super noticeable. Oh, there's a grasshopper. Grasshopper. There's a whole bunch of them. I've noticed a whole bunch of them. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, that's the cranberry, right? Now, if you eat one of these, and I mean, this is the time to pick them because, you know, basically once the trees lose their leaves, you can pick them. The animals don't, is my understanding, they don't eat them until it's much, much colder. They probably taste better when they're colder. And if you've never picked these wild before, when you eat them, they don't taste the way you think they taste. I'll put it that way. If the only cranberry you've ever had is cranberry sauce or cranberry juice, or those dried ones that you add to salad, that actually the dried ones have sugar added to them as well. But if you ever have them just like this, they're not sweet. They're kind of got a kind of sharp taste. Tart would be the right word for them. They're tart. My guess is that the animal, they probably get sweeter as it gets colder. Also, I think over the course of the winter, they probably dehydrate a bit, which probably makes them, you know, the sugar to cranberry ratio is probably higher. Let's put it that way. But anyway, these ones aren't hard. I mean, they're ripe. They're ready to be picked because they've had a frost. Which is probably why it's so traditional to have cranberries with Thanksgiving, that sort of thing, right? Christmas, Thanksgiving, you have cranberry sauce with your turkey. Goes with lots of other things too. Anyway, they don't really jump out at you, but they're all over the place here, right? I brought these bags. I seem to think that if you bring a bag for the liver and heart when you're deer hunting, you never get a deer. I only ever seem to get a deer when I don't have it. When I forget to bring these, it seems to be good luck, and bringing them seems to be bad luck. Anyway, there's nothing in this bag, so might as well use it to put some of these berries in. So I'm going to get picking. One more thing. This is what the plant looks like, right? It's got that leaf pattern. They sort of send vines all over the place, but they're horizontal vines, right? So one of these, you pull this up and it would go. It just creeps. It's a creeping vine, right? It just sort of goes along the ground. And then it makes new roots and then goes along the ground, makes new roots and goes along the ground. That's how it colonizes an area. I'm sure the berries, the seeds and the berries also propagate. But I think the plants, because it's more effective, its main method of propagation is to just spread, right, and send out vines. It's kind of tedious work. This is great work for kids because they're low to the ground. It's a great thing to bring kids along. It's hard for me to convince my kids because they're not really big fans of cranberry sauce. I can't see why anyone wouldn't like cranberry sauce with their turkey, but anyway, so it'd be hard to get them to pick these because there's nothing, really nothing in it for them. Anyway, it's yeah, it's backbreaking on the ground work, but rewarding. So I got a couple cups so far. I'm not done. I'm just giving thought I'd stop for a second and give my knees and back a little break. Thought I'd pick I'm going to try to pick 6 cups, I think is about all I got in me. There's plenty more here. Plenty more. And of course they're a perennial, right? So you're not doing any damage by picking them. They're just whatever birds eat them, you're robbing them of that meal. I'd have to guess the grouse eat these, I would guess. But they're perennials, so yeah, foraging doesn't really do anything to the plant. Anyway, I just thought I'd give you a sense of just so you know, if you're looking for these, what to look for. Right, so we got a spot here that you can tell water pools here, right? This is probably wet all year. It might dry out a bit in the summer, but most of the year it's wet here, right? So it's got a soggy spot that you know, probably has a certain kind of soil, right? Not going to grow anywhere, but we've got a soggy spot and it's sunny, it's open, right? Instead of it being like in the thick woods over there, it's next to the logging road. This looks almost like they were going to put a turnaround here, but it was so, I mean, there's a bog over there, right? So it's such a boggy, wet spot, maybe they just said the heck with it. Because you can tell, it just looks too man-made. The clearing over there is perfectly rectangular. It's hard to believe that it just happened naturally. But it's so boggy there, they must have just given up on it as a turnaround. In fact, there's a berm piled up there where that line of pine trees. It's a berm. It can't be natural. It just looks too unnatural. Let's put it that way. So they might have even done that. So truckers, logging truck, don't try to turn around there because they might get stuck, right? Anyway, so we've got a spot here which is wet almost all the time. It's sort of a, you know, a soggy spot with good sun, right? And I'm guessing lousy soil because everywhere else there's a series of different types of weeds. Well, I'm calling them weeds, but basically the stuff that naturally grows here, various kinds of grasses and other things, these sort of bushy things. There's a lot of these around. I don't know what they're called, but they're some kind of, you know, hedge, not hedge, some sort of bushy type brush. There's none of that growing here, none of it. So I'd have to guess the soil here is different than the soil where everything, see how all those brushy things are growing over there, right? Sort of a knee-high brush, right? And there's grasses and brush. And you get to here, even though there's lots of sun, there's nothing growing here, right? It's just these lichens and various kinds of moss and the odd plant, right? But you know, see how it changes, right? All of a sudden it's moss here, not moss over there, right? All this sort of lichen, this here light colored, lime colored stuff is a lichen, I think, right? So now this might be because of whatever they did when they were developing the road, right? But it must be, I'm gonna guess it's very acidic, right? Because you just notice everything that grows everywhere here isn't growing in this spot. So the soil must be different, right? And so I think just the right conditions are there. There's the right kind of soil, a soil where nothing else wants to grow, good sun, and a steady supply of water. But they're not constrained to growing in the water. Actually, they seem to, I mean, there's some, it's really soupy in there, and they're growing there in the soup, right? You can see them, right? But they actually have reached up almost all the way to the road, right? Here's the logging road here where you drive, and there's some right there, right? Because they vine out. Right? These are like vine networks, right? See how long that is, right? So, I mean, they just reach out until, I guess, things aren't the way they just reach and reach and reach until things aren't the way they want, right? So, yeah, I just thought I'd give you a sense of the spot. Good sun, soggy, and a place where nothing seems to want to grow. Or a place where you got a whole bunch of stuff growing, and then that stuff isn't growing there, and there's different things, you know. So that's what you'd look for. It would be a break in the natural flora, right? You got grass and that bushy thing, all of a sudden there's no grass and no bush here. Anyway, this is the best time of year to look for these anyway, because they're so red and they stand out so much. But still, when you're walking along, you might not be like staring at the ground intensely, right? So that's what you wait for, is a break in the flora, and a sunny spot with bog, with moss, lichens, right? That sort of stuff. Look for those sorts of things, and maybe you'll find them. Anyway, I better get back to picking. So I think I'm done picking for now. It's about 11:15. I haven't eaten anything yet today other than coffee. I just went out in the woods with a thermos of coffee at 6 a.m. and I'm pretty hungry now. So yeah, I think I got to get some food in me. I got about 4 cups here, something like that. I think it's enough to make a batch. And you know, I think I'll make some cranberry sauce up soon with this, because I don't know how long they'll keep. And if we like the cranberry sauce, I think I might bring my kids back here. It's a good 4-kilometer hike from the road. So it'd be like a nice day sort of thing, right? We could come back here and pick a bunch of berries, have some lunch, and then do the march out of here. And I'll have their fast hands and their young backs. So there's so many here. I mean, I literally haven't, I mean, I'm just sitting next to my backpack and my rifle, and I really haven't, all of this came from maybe 8 square feet of area, maybe, right? And so I almost haven't moved. I haven't stood up. I've just been sort of laying on my side, trying different postures for picking these. Seems to be a bit of a knack to it, right? Anyway, that's about it. Just out in the woods here, and I noticed these cranberries, and I thought, this is a way to not go home empty-handed, right? So hopefully they taste good, and we can come back and get some more. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching.